Salutations everyone, this is Razor bringing you guys another emblem tutorial for Black Ops 3. Today I'm going to be handling the Los Angeles Gladiators Pro Overwatch team's logo. And for some reason the beginning of my tutorial wasn't recorded, but that's fine. It's pretty simple. You start off with a purple circle, you get a concentric white circle, and then you get the same purple circle, but you ovulate it a little bit so it's not perfect, just so that it will just eclipse the lower left and the upper right side, as you can see here. It's pretty simple, and then with the white background you're able to make the cuts and dents within the shield itself. That should be self-explanatory, so you really didn't miss a whole lot. Now this is definitely a more advanced emblem for someone to make. The last one, the Diva one, was pretty simple as well, symmetrical, which has its pluses and minuses. You know, getting it right can definitely have it feel off, but at the same time there's less work to do. So, and for here, or obviously with a white background or any color, obviously you can use any colors you want, we're going to be dealing with the use of negative space in order to cookie cutter out of white objects onto purple objects and purple objects onto white objects in order to get the desired shape that we need. And we are going to be using all 64 layers here. And this is a highly detailed logo, so obviously you might need, or you might require a little bit less or a little bit more layers depending on how efficient you are with your layers. So if you find yourself not being able to get the detail, you could opt for having the mouth being less detailed, because you can get the message across. You can make it look fine without having it, you know, is perfectly matched. And obviously my representation is not as one-for-one as I would like it to be. But you know, there's some shortcuts that you can take, since you know that, you know, people aren't going to be zooming in on your logo to see if things are totally kosher all the way. Some of the aspects of this logo were challenging. There's a lot of layers that are like perfect shapes for what you're trying to do, and there are some that are almost perfect that make it quite frustrating, because you know you're almost there, so you have to add a few more layers to cut it down to the right shape, or have it be the right slope in order to contour with the rest of your logo, or just to have the right amount of space missing, or have the right shape, or what have you. So there's a lot of really good shapes that really make this thing shine through, and there are some others where just make sure you have to get your proportions right. With something like this, thankfully with the new tool of being able to link layers, you don't have to worry about the size so much. So if you get your whole lion head and you're like, oh, it's a little bit more to the left than it needs to be, or it's a little too small, or I'm running out of room, it's going to be a little too big, you can link all of your layers outside of the shield layers and shrink it or expand it or move it all over all at once. So thankfully we have that. It's the left bumper in order to, I think, link layers. If you left trigger is linking all the layers. I did that accidentally a couple of times and have to manually unlink it. It's a bother, but it's fine. So this is definitely more of an advanced one because of how much detail that there is with the lion's mane, and getting the height of its head is kind of difficult, getting that slope right. The nose presents its problems. The eye is very easy. The ear is very easy. The mane, it is kind of difficult getting the proportions right, and I even got the angle off just a little bit, so obviously you can make yours a lot better than mine. But as you can see, the ear is real easy. You just get a nice long triangle, you morph that thing. Oh, if you want to get the exact coordinates, I believe it starts at the 8 minutes 4 second mark, where I'll slowly go over each individual layer, show you the X and Y position, the X and Y scales, as well as the rotation. Once again, the only thing that is up to you is getting the free form shaped right when you click in the thumbstick, and you're able to change a circle into an oval, or, you know, a square into a rectangle, things like that. So once again, all of that is up to you. Most of it is pretty easy, since we don't have to get a lot of shapes nailed down perfectly, because we're mostly going to be shaving purple spaces with blue, or with white, and white shapes with purple. So it's really mostly about what tools you use to shave to get the right contour. Like I said, the ear's really easy because that's just 5 simple shapes that give you a pretty darn good accurate representation of what you need for the ear. Thankfully, there's some really good tried and true layers that we're using here. And the eye is just a simple triangle with a, I believe it's called like a windsock or something. That's just 2 layers. That's really simple. So those details are very easy to get. The mouth and the nose might provide some problems. And here my mane is a little bit small on the far left, and in the middle, it's not quite at the right angle. Which obviously, you know, you can fix it up. Yours is gonna look exactly like mine. It could be a little better, a little worse. And even my mouth at the ends, where I used like my last 8 layers or something, I could have been more economical with those choices, and I still didn't get it perfectly right. So I'm gonna make some even more changes, but you know, it's just gonna be really, really tiny changes, make it shine through. And if you don't want to go with like hyper detail and get every single cut, every single contour, there's some shapes that you can skip. Like the mouth, you could really only use like 3 shapes with. Maybe you don't want to spend so much time on the shield, or if you just want to use just a couple, you could be more economical with your layers on the mane and the back. But I just tried to, as always, provide the most accurate representation of the logo that I wanted. As far as the color goes, I just went with their default darkest purple. That is not perfectly the LA Gladiators logo, but you can make that as you will. Maybe you want it gold, you can make it gold. You want it red or black or white, you know, obviously you can make the colors all what you want to be, but the dark purple is relatively close. It gets the job done. So here I am just doing the nose, which takes a little bit of work, and I accidentally delete a layer and I have to figure out what I deleted and how to get the right contour. So it's mostly like about the brow of the eye, getting that slope down to the tip of the nose, and getting that cut to like show the shape of the nose is quite easy. It's just getting the first upper part of the lowered brow to the nose that might be the more difficult part for you. But it's just all about getting your slopes, and so you know, getting your triangles or your ovals or your shark's fins, you know, whatever shapes that you want to use in order to get the right contour, and then filling out obviously the negative space with white that you can then put the purple on over here. So here it looks perfectly fine. So if you find yourself having trouble, you could stop here if you like the mouth of the way it is, but there's just a few more details to get the shape of it just right with the upper tooth as well as the bottom tooth. That it was really easier than I make it out to be here. I still make a number of mistakes, but yeah, I'm a big Gladiators fan. Always have been, and definitely looking forward to the new season, and hopefully we'll be able to go deeper into the playoffs this time. So yeah, the first one was a Diva logo, and that did fairly well. Someone wanted me to do a Lucio logo, and I did give that a try, but that was a lot harder than I was expecting, just with the headphone area, as well as getting like the shape of the frog. For some reason was more difficult to me than doing this, which used all 64 layers. So here I am going one by one on the X and Y coordinates for each individual layer. So it shows you, as I highlight over it, where it is and what shape it is. And of course you have the order, the positioning, the scale, as well as the rotation. Rotation doesn't worry, you don't have to worry as much about that as long as you get the same end product, because it's not symmetrical, so you don't have to worry about getting perfect bisected perpendicular angles and lines and like that. So just get the basic shape and you might be satisfied with what you have. We have 64 layers to play with. Maybe you're more economical and detailed than I am, and maybe you just want to sacrifice some part of the logo to make the other look just right. Maybe if you're having trouble with, say, like the chin or something, then you definitely, there's some wiggle room. There's not you know, a perfect play-by-play book to go by here, but I'm just showing you how I did it, what the method to my madness was. It's going to be a little bit awkward starting off. I found myself starting from the top and going kind of counterclockwise, but meeting at the head, because if the head's wrong, that's going to be the biggest part that stands out to you. So I kind of like work my way in from the bottom, then the top, then the bottom, then the top, to try to get the head just right. So you might want to just dedicate to that, but obviously you want to get the proportions just right, so that, you know, the head is tall enough, the mane is long enough, and that you have enough space for the face, so it doesn't like end up like it's getting cut off or it's pushing more towards the edge. So there's definitely some wiggle room with it, but there definitely is a high amount of accuracy needed in order to make a logo like this work. And even I didn't get it perfect on my first try, but you know, I'll make some cleanup and adjustments later on. So yeah, that's my second logo tutorial here for Black Ops 4. Let me know what you guys think and what you'd like to see me do in the future, other Overwatch stuff, other video games things, other sports logos, what have you. And the rest of this video will play out, showing you all the positionings for each layer. And yeah, make it your own, do whatever colors you want. But you know, there definitely are some shapes that you kind of need to go by. Maybe it'll help you more so of starting with a greater, wider surface and then cookie cutter out that with purple. But since I'm so experienced, I knew exactly how I was going to tackle this thing. So whatever makes you comfortable, it's totally fine. Unfortunately, this wasn't one of those logos where I could have just made a white circle in the middle and then just cookie cutter out of that, because of the details of the shield and as well as the overall shape of the lion's head would have made that just undoable with the amount of detail and accuracy that I was striving for. So yeah, thanks. Hope you all enjoyed this tutorial. Hope it all made sense and you were able to follow it and it helped you in some sort of way. And always go Gladiators. Shields up, baby. But don't use barricades. That's dick move. Don't do barricades and mesh wires and mesh mines. Just, this isn't Fortnite. It's not build, lol, win. It's just gun on gun. Come on, guys. Let's be real.